Here are 5 wide receivers with league-winning upside in 2025 fantasy football drafts. Starting out, Garret Wilson, New York Jets. Garret Wilson has never had the ceiling year, but he's had an amazing floor in his 3 years in the league. Always between 83 and 101 catches, between 1,042 and 1,104 yards, and between 147 and 168 targets. We know that volume will be there. There is no second receiver in New York. Josh Reynolds, Allen Lazard, none of the above. So Garret Wilson will get all the work he can handle. Now, some of you may be worried, oh no, Justin Fields is his quarterback. He's not a very good quarterback. You might be right, but guess what? Justin Fields was the quarterback of the Chicago Bears in 2023, and guess what? He had DJ Moore as a receiver. And what did DJ Moore do with Fields? 96 catches, 1,364 yards, 8 touchdowns. That was a wide receiver 6 season. Garret Wilson, DJ Moore, both star players, both can do a lot of different things. Both have had attention placed on them by opposing defenses. Both can beat that. I do not see any reason why Justin Fields cannot do the same thing for Garret Wilson that he did for DJ Moore. Yet you can get Garret Wilson around wide receiver 15, and he could finish as high as wide receiver 10 for your team. Next, we have Jaxon Smith-Njigba of the Seattle Seahawks. He's going right around the same spot as Garret Wilson, right around wide receiver 15 in drafts. Yet we saw 1,130 yards, 6 touchdowns from Smith-Njigba, but there is room for a lot more this year, but fantasy managers don't seem to be buying that. Now, I know his target volume was inconsistent last year, 6 games with 11 or more targets, and he went off, but we also had a lot of games with 2 and 3 targets. Played 74% of his snaps in the slot, which was wonderful. So here's what we have. DK Metcalf gone, an aging Tyler Lockett gone. They bring in Cooper Kupp. They're talking about, oh, Cooper Kupp's going to play the slot. Well, guess what? Cooper Kupp was phased out of the Rams offense by Sean McVay, the coach that helped make him a superstar. Another year older for Kupp, a new offense. Maybe he starts in the slot, but I don't think there's much left in the tank for Cooper Kupp. So that said, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he'll play outside, he'll play inside. There are no other legitimate receiving threats on this team. Smith-Njigba may not have a great quarterback in Sam Darnold, but guess what? Smith-Njigba will see all the targets he can handle. Do not be surprised if Smith-Njigba gets 160 targets, and at that cost in a PPR league, Smith-Njigba may not have the greatest ceiling in the world with the elite players, but he is going to have a dynamic floor and a fair enough ceiling. Take Smith-Njigba. Next, we got George Pickens of the Dallas Cowboys. George Pickens, you can get him somewhere around wide receiver 30, a couple picks before that. George Pickens, yeah, he hasn't had great numbers, but remember, he played in Pittsburgh. It was a run-based offense with bad quarterback play, and then Pickens had a little bit of strife with the team. I get all that, but he is in Dallas now, and George Pickens is going to be a big part of Dallas's plan. He's going to be the downfield receiver, the intermediate receiver. Dak Prescott, one of the better downfield quarterbacks passing in the NFL. A few years ago, remember Michael Gallup, 1,100 yards? George Pickens is going to play a similar role, but Pickens is way better than Gallup ever was. Pickens could go off here. Now, again, throw the past out because this is the present. Defense have to worry about CeeDee Lamb. They're not going to focus on Jake Ferguson, but it's another good receiver. Pickens is going to not see crazy coverage. Pittsburgh, teams focused on him. Nobody will focus on Pickens here because of CeeDee Lamb. Pickens is going to have a massive season, and for a Dallas team, is going to have to throw the ball off him. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. It helps us keep the fantasy advice coming your way. And if you want even more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. Go to RotoWire.com. You choose that subscription. You use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, we got DJ Moore next, and I just can't understand why he's going outside the top 20 wide receivers in fantasy drafts. This is a man last year in a mess of a season in Chicago. He was the wide receiver 14. 2 years ago in Chicago, he was the wide receiver 6. And guess what? Ben Johnson's in town. We have an upgraded interior offensive line. Caleb Williams might actually have time to throw. The team's going to use play action, motion to give Williams easy scheme throws to dynamic receivers like DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. DJ Moore is a superstar, always has been. Horrible situations his entire career, but DJ Moore has averaged 1,100 yards since 2019. How many players have done that? And yet he gets no respect in fantasy football drafts. Moore is 2 years removed from a 1,360-yard, 8-touchdown season. Expect more of the same here. This is going to be a season where Moore gets closer to that 2023 range. You'll get a wide receiver 1 at a very, very low cost. And then we have Calvin Ridley of the Tennessee Titans. Ridley, ADP's going up. You've got to get him right around wide receiver 30, but I still say that's a value. Ridley has over 1,000 yards in 2 straight seasons, but he has been in some bad situations. Badly coached Jacksonville team 2 years ago. Trevor Lawrence missed time. Last year in Tennessee, you had the Will Levis, Mason Rudolph show with a bad line. Well, guess what? Tennessee's improved their offensive line, brought in some veterans. Those young guys they drafted are aging, improving a bit. And also Cam Ward, first pick in the draft. It will be their quarterback. Ridley by far is the number 1 target in this offense. There really is no clear number 2 receiver. Ridley is going to be fed. He will get another 1,000-yard season. He could even push for 1,200 yards. And remember, he was just getting things figured out in the second half last season. He was averaging, Ridley was 14.2 PPR points and 76 yards from weeks 8 through 18. That's going to get even better. Invest in Calvin Ridley.